Hi, this is Geeta Shah, going to teach you chapter 16. Chapter 16 is on pricing strategy. Chapter outline and learning objectives. After finishing this chapter, you will be able to discuss pricing strategy, the law of one price, and arbitrage. You will be able to explain price discrimination, charging different prices for the same product. And you will be able to discuss on other pricing strategies. Price or prices. Until now, we have assumed that firms charge a single price for their products. In this chapter, we will consider when this is or is not an appropriate model for pricing. We will ask, when is it possible for a firm to charge different prices for the same product? Why would a firm want to charge different prices? Would such a practice increase or decrease efficiency? What other pricing strategies make sense for firms to use? Pricing strategy, the law of one price and arbitrage. Define the law of one price and explain the role of arbitrage. Arbitrage. Suppose that two identical products sold for different prices. As for example, an Apple iPad might sell for $4.99 in stores in Atlanta and for $4.29 in stores in San Francisco. What do you think? What would happen? In all likelihood, some clever entrepreneur would start buying iPads in San Francisco, shipping them to Atlanta and selling them for $4.99 or a little less. This practice of buying a product in one market and reselling it in a market with a higher price is known as arbitrage. Arbitrage and the law of one price. If arbitrage in this manner can occur, what will happen to prices in Atlanta, where the price is currently $4.99, and San Francisco, where the price is currently $4.29? The supply of iPads in Atlanta will rise, and look at the graph, supply curve will shift to the right and it will decrease the price in Atlanta. The supply of iPads in San Francisco will decrease, and look at the graph, supply curve will shift to the left and will increase the price of iPad in San Francisco. If it were completely free to transport iPads from San Francisco to Atlanta, we would expect that the price would converge to being exactly the same in each location. This is the law of one price. Again, if it were completely free to transport iPads from San Francisco to Atlanta, we would expect that the price would converge to being exactly the same in each location. This is the law of one price. The law of one price and transaction costs. Transporting the iPads from San Francisco to Atlanta is unlikely to be free. However, there are transaction costs that anyone who wanted to engage in this activity would incur. Transactions costs. The costs in time and other resources that parties incur in the process of agreeing to and carrying out an exchange of goods and services. We only expect the law of one price to hold perfectly when transaction costs are zero. Naturally, the law of one price will only apply if resale of the product in question is possible. As for example, it is impossible to resell a haircut, so there is no expectation that haircuts will sell for the same price everywhere. Why don't all firms charge the same price? It often seems as if different firms are charging different prices for the same product, even when people could easily choose between them. For example, the same Blu-ray disc may sell for different prices on different websites. But is the same movie on different websites really the same product? Consider the table below. Product: The Amazing Spider-Man 2 Blu-ray disc. Amazon.com, selling prices $24.99. Walmart.com, selling prices $24.98. Wait forever for your order.com, price is $22.50. Just started in business last Wednesday.com, price is $21.25. Which internet retailer would you buy from? Some people will pay the higher price. Some people might be willing to take a risk on the last site in order to save a couple of dollars. But many would buy from Amazon.com or Walmart.com instead. Here, the product might refer not only to the physical disc but trusting the company to deliver it on time, not to do anything fraudulent with other credit card information, etc. Product: The Amazing Spider-Man 2 Blu-ray disc. Price at Amazon.com $24.99, Walmart.com $24.98, Wait forever for your order.com $22.50, Just started business last Wednesday.com $21.25. Which internet retailer would you buy from? Price discrimination: charging different prices for the same product. Explain how a firm can increase its profits through price discrimination. Movie ticket pricing: suppose you go with your extended family to see a movie. As a student, you will probably get a student discount. Your younger sibling might get a child discount or even get in free if they are young enough. Your grandparents might get a discount of their own. Your parents will probably have to pay full price. The movie theater will charge these different prices even though it costs them the exact same amount to show the movie to each one of you. This is an example of price discrimination. The price discrimination of charging different prices to different customers for the same product when the price differences are not due to differences in the cost. Discrimination, isn't that illegal? Discrimination on the basis of arbitrary characteristic such as race or gender is certainly illegal. Price discrimination is performed, however, on the basis of willingness and ability to pay, and such is generally legal. Example, students and the elderly tend to be poorer than adults of working age. So, their willingness to pay for a movie ticket tends to be lower. There are some gray areas. Car insurance companies typically charge lower prices to women than to men because men have more accidents than women. But what if a car company determined that one race tended to have more accidents than another? When is price discrimination possible? Price discrimination is possible when firms possess market power, like monopoly. Otherwise, the firm is a price taker. Identifiable groups of consumers have different willingness to pay for the product. If the firm cannot identify different groups, it cannot expect to charge those groups different prices. Arbitrage of the product is not possible, either because reselling the product is not logically possible. As for example, education, or because the transaction costs involved make resale impractical. Military discounts at the Home Depot. Home Depot is a home and garden supply store. It offers a 10% discount to active and retired military personnel, reservists, and to their family. Home Depot certainly has some market power and can identify military personnel using their military identification cards. But doesn't arbitrage seem possible? Some possible reasons why this program doesn't get abused. A 10% discount is relatively small. Many military personnel would consider it dishonorable to abuse the discount privilege. Transaction costs, the inconvenience of having someone else buy goods for you, are high. Can you think of others? Groups of consumers with different willingness to pay. If firms can practice price discrimination, who will they charge a higher price to? 1. Groups with a higher demand. These people are willing to pay more and firms will profit by charging them more. 2. Groups with a lower price elasticity of demand. These people are less sensitive to price. Raising the price on them will result in fewer of them ceasing to use the product. Price discrimination by a movie theater. Fewer people want to go to the movies in the afternoon than in the evening. In the afternoon, the profit maximizing price for ticket is $7.25 using MC equals MR. Look at the graph in panel A. This is afternoon price 725, and at price 725, look at my cursor, marginal revenue equals marginal cost. When demand is higher in the evening, look at my cursor in panel B. The price for movie is $9.75, and follow my cursor. When in the evening price is $9.75, again marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So this is profit maximizing price. Yield management. Yield management is the practice of rapidly adjusting prices of a fixed perishable good in order to maximize profit. As for example, airlines adjust price of flights depending on how full the flight is and what they anticipate demand for the flight will be before departure. Yield management is a sophisticated form of price discrimination that relies on gathering and understanding data about your customers and their behavior. Airlines, the kings of price discrimination. Airlines divide their customers into two main categories: business travelers and leisure travelers. Business travelers are generally less sensitive to price, so profit maximization suggests charging them more. But no one would volunteer the information that they were a business traveler if it means they would pay more. Instead, airlines seek to infer this information from how far in advance you are booking the ticket and how long you will stay. Price discrimination on a United flight. The figure below illustrates price discrimination on United Airlines flight from Chicago to Los Angeles. Notice that people who bought tickets more than 14 days in advance generally paid lower prices. But there are some expectations suggesting yield management by the airline. How college use yield management? Traditionally, colleges based financial aid decisions only on the incomes of prospective students. In recent years, however, many colleges have started using yield management techniques first developed for airlines to determine the amount of financial aid they offer different students. This means students who seem more sensitive to price are given more generous financial aid packages. How do the college do this? How can a college tell who is more or less sensitive to price? Your intended major. Did you come for an on-campus interview? Your home state. your family income. Whether you applied for early decision. Do you think this is a fair practice for colleges to use? Perfect price discrimination. Perfect or first degree price discrimination refers to charging every consumer a price exactly equal to their willingness to pay. To pay for a product. In this case, every consumer would buy the product, but consumer surplus would be zero. The firm would extract all surplus from the market. Perfect price discrimination is probably impossible in practice, but it can illustrate a surprising result. Price discrimination might increase economic efficiency. Comparing monopoly with no price discrimination. In this panel, the monopolist cannot perform price discrimination. For simplicity, we assume that the marginal cost of production is constant. As usual, the monopolist charges the price where marginal cost equals marginal revenue. At this price, many consumers who would be willing to pay more than the marginal cost of the product miss out. This results into dead weight loss. Look at my cursor and I am teaching you this diagram. This is the graph of monopolist firm without price discrimination. This is the demand for monopolist firm. Demand is equal to average revenue. Demand curve for monopolist firm is downward sloping. So if monopolist want to sell more, he has to decrease the price. As he decreases the price, his average revenue is decreasing, his marginal revenue is decreasing, and marginal revenue decreases at the faster rate than average revenue. To maximize profit, look at my cursor. A firm will get equilibrium where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. You can see here marginal cost is constant parallel to horizontal line, and marginal cost equals average total cost. So you can see with the price, monopoly price, this firm is making profit price minus average total cost times quantity sold. So this is profit. The blue area below the demand curve, above the market price, is consumer surplus. Some consumers are willing to pay more than the market price, but they pay less than their willingness to pay, so they get consumer surplus. And some customers, they will not purchase any product at this price. That business will disappear from the market and create what? Dead weight loss. This is dead weight loss. Now, if this firm can do perfect price discrimination, look at the difference. Now with the perfect price discrimination, look at the chart in panel B. This firm is charging price exactly to the different customers according to their willingness to pay. So every customer pays the price according to his or her willingness to pay. And look at here, whole triangle is firm's profit. There is no consumer surplus left. There is no dead weight loss. And this is the reason why monopolists do price discrimination. Let's allow the monopolist to perfectly price discriminate. It sells to every consumer with a willingness to pay greater than the marginal cost and maximizes profit. Then the monopolist will sell the efficient quantity. Results of price discrimination. We know that price discrimination increases profits for firms, or else they wouldn't do it. But it also decreases consumer surplus. Overall, can we say that price discrimination increases economic efficiency? That is, decreases deadweight loss? Unfortunately, not always. The result of price discrimination on overall welfare are ambiguous. Price discrimination across time. A less obvious way in which firms price discriminate is across time. Price discrimination across time. For example, book publishers often sell a hardcover version and some months later release a much cheaper paperback version. Look at chart A and chart B. You can see in panel A that demand of devoted John Grisham's fans. Demand for his book is inelastic. So, publisher will charge high price, $28.95. And look at my cursor. At that price, marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So this is profit maximizing production, publication. And they will sell 500,000 hardcover books at price $28.95. Look at panel B, demand for casual readers. Casual readers' willingness to pay is less. Look at the demand curve. It is more elastic. So they charge them lower price $9.99 and sell 1 million books with paperback books. And look at my cursor. At this price, marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So that is profit maximizing production. Returning to the legality of price discrimination. In 1936, Congress passed the Robinson-Patman Act, an antitrust law that outlawed price discrimination that reduced competition, contained language that could be interpreted as making illegal or price discrimination. In the 1960s, the Federal Trade Commission tested the scope of this law, suing Borden Inns for selling evaporated milk under its own brand and under a store brand for two different prices. The courts ruled that such price discrimination increased rather than reduced competition, and have generally followed this pattern in subsequent years. The internet and price discrimination. When you shop for a product online, the website may have various information about you, your location, your browsing history, maybe even personal facts about you like age, gender, and income. WSJ reporters found the same swing line stapler at staples.com. depended on proximity to rival stores like Office Max and Office Depot. Customers with 20 miles of a rival store saw a price of $14.29, while customers further away saw price of $15.79. Other price strategies explain how some firms increase their profits through the use of odd pricing, cost plus pricing, and two-part tariffs. Odd pricing. Many firms use odd pricing, charging $4.95 instead of $5, or $199 instead of $200. Why? The strongest reason for the continuation of odd pricing is the apparent psychological effect that it has on consumers. Researchers have tested this by estimating demand curves for items statistically, then surveying people to find out how much they would buy if the price were, say, $9.99 instead of $10. The price difference should result in a very small increase in quantity demanded. But the actual increase in quantity demanded is generally much larger than expected. Cost plus pricing. Many firms use cost plus pricing, pricing an item equal to some fixed percentage above average total cost. In theory, this approach is incorrect. Profit maximization requires pricing where MC equals MR. In practice, cost plus pricing comes close to achieving profit maximization in two situations. When marginal cost and average cost are roughly equal, when a firm has difficulty estimating its demand curve. Particularly in the latter case, cost plus pricing can be useful if the firm can identify which products are likely to have more or less price elastic demand and adjust the markup accordingly. Cost plus pricing in published industry. Cost plus pricing is common in the publishing industry, where it is often difficult to assign costs, labor, etc. to particular books. A common approach is to multiply the physical cost of production by 7 or 8 to arrive at the final price of the book. The costs on the right are for a book expected to sell 5,000 copies. Average cost per book is $4.50. 7 times this gives $31.50. The book would likely sell for around this price. The publisher would receive about 60% of this, and the amount above the average cost would be used to pay for salaries, marketing, royalties, warehousing, and profit. Two-part tariffs. Another pricing strategy that a firm can use is a two-part tariff, making consumers pay one price or tariff for the right to buy as much of a related good as they want at a second price. Memberships at Sam's Club, your local tennis club, or the local video store often work this way. Phone companies also use this approach with a monthly charge plus a fee for additional minutes. Why would companies use such a pricing strategy? We will investigate by considering Disney World's pricing structure for rides. Disney's pricing decisions. Suppose Disney World has just one ride. With demand as shown, the marginal cost of a ride is very small, $2. If Disney charges the monopoly price, it sells 20,000 rides, making profit B. Look at the graph. This is Disney's graph, and with the price, one price, they will make profit B for 20,000 rides. Look at here. And marginal cost is only $2, and they charge you $26 price, and they have 20,000 rides. Assuming Disney can identify its customers' willingness to pay for tickets, it also makes profit from selling admission tickets. Area A, look at here, admission tickets, $50. A. Area C is deadweight loss. If Disney instead charge admission equal to the willingness to pay for each rider, it obtains the whole surplus as its profit. Look at the panel B. Now you can see Disney is charging every passenger according to their willingness to pay as admission fees, and all the area below the demand curve and above the marginal average total cost is profit. Everyone willing to pay at least the marginal cost of a ride gets to get into the park. Economic efficiency. This argument relies on Disney's ability to price discriminate among park entrants. The vast number of pricing options Disney provides suggests that this is indeed how Disney tries to make its profit. Disney profits from different pricing strategies. By charging a low price of rides, our hypothetical Disney park makes more money than charging a high price, since it recoups the money in the admission tickets. Look at here. Monopoly price for rides, profits for admission tickets, $240,000. Competitive price for rides, profits from admission tickets, $960,000. Profits from ride tickets, $480,000 for monopoly. Competitive firm, 0. Total profit for monopoly price, $720,000. With competitive price, of for rides $960,000. Disney's profits per day from different pricing strategy is much higher than the single price profit. In practice, Disney does not even charge the marginal cost for its rides since it is so small that it is not worth collecting. Disney's actual profit are smaller than what this would suggest because it cannot perfectly price discriminate. Common misconception to avoid. The law of one price will only hold if transaction costs are trivial. Discrimination and price discrimination are two different concepts. Don't confuse the two. While price discrimination reduces consumer surplus, it may actually increases economic efficiency and hence may often be good for society. So in this chapter we learnt about one price law and price discrimination and other pricing strategies.